Hey everyone, it is Tim Falconet. I am back with more Road to 1K, but first, before I start this episode, I'm going to go to the Tournaments tab here and tell you about Quack Club number 1. So it should be up at waiting tournaments right now up until February 3rd, so yeah, we're actually doing the funny High Funds Gimmick Cup next as the second tournament to be sequenced. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to be covering this alongside a Mariner Cup. And yeah. There's going to be like a registration button here. There's still another like 130 sign-up slots left. So if you haven't already, go ahead and do that. You have until the 3rd, but like it's just clicking a button, so like it's better to get it done with early and just get signed up. So yeah, that'll be fun. First map is actually really funny too. It's got pipe seams all around. It's got 2 bases and then a airport locked behind a pipe seam. It's very funny, actually. So and like in theory, if you're playing grid, on high funds as you normally play grid on, you can attack this pipe team from 6 range with this funny base here. Is that a good idea? No, but it's funny. Don't pick grid. I'm pretty sure that's not even like bottom tier high fun, so don't pick grid for that, please. But anyway, today's match, let's get back to the actual video. Today's match is going to be this tier 1 fog match on Strike Through versus Shirolishi, who is playing Sasha. And the interesting thing about Sasha is she actually has the lead on this map. If you go to here, she actually has 55% win rate compared to like Fox 54. So she's actually very viable, depending on how you play and whether or not you're able to get an early game advantage with Flock. Because basically what Sasha can do is, if she is able to maintain a stalemate for long enough, she can just overwhelm you with her extra 10% funds every day. And on a base light map like this, that basically means that she's going to be more able to put out expensive units on a daily basis. Whereas you're going to be stuck with less expensive units. So she's going to be able to spam out a lot of Neo tanks, basically, if she wants to. And that's sort of her gimmick on this map, is doing that and stealing your meter. So she's pretty fun in this map, I guess. I haven't played her on this map. I haven't played Sasha like at all in Global League, because it's I usually just play like Hawk and Demolish in the early game before the powers even come into play. So well, at least that's my strategy. It doesn't always work out that way, but and strategy is a very loose term for that. But yeah, so this is the map. You got this airport here, and then you got this pipe seam, which you can build an artillery to free the pipe seam. It's kind of the only real reason you would build an artillery on this map, is to break open this pipe seam. If you don't break open the pipe seam with the artillery, you'd better just build like tanks and stuff, because like I don't see the point. Like, this map is so open that like I don't really see the point of getting an artillery out, unless you're gonna break open the pipe seam first with it. And breaking open this pipe seam is actually pretty huge, because it allows your battlecopters, instead of going around this pipe seam, it allows them to just head straight into the center here, which is important because it allows you to just kit out battlecopters into the center and just overwhelm your enemy's tanks. Battlecopters, what have you, which just forces your opponent to spam anti-air a little bit, which means you can overwhelm them with tanks. And just superior unit count, so. That was sort of my strategy on this match. As you will see in a second. But also the con powers are a bit out of the way, so it's very likely that if you don't go for them immediately, which, like, the properties are scattered enough that you sort of want to prioritize them, actually. Like, the income on this map is limited enough. Like, it's only 20k per player if you're at a stalemate. So the income on this map is limited enough that you want... if you sort of want to prioritize income over firepower, actually, especially if you're playing like Hawk and you already have day-to-day firepower. So the con powers are a little bit out of the way, is the main point here. And yeah, I think that's about it for the preamble here. So let's just get started with the game. There we go, that's better. So yeah, here's the replay. And I pressed that. Okay. So yeah, as you can see here, we're setting out pretty basic infantry builds. The main thing that you want to do here on this map, which is pretty obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway because I don't really have much to talk about this early on, is you want to go for this city with 1 infantry from this base first and then send it to get the anti-air. You don't really want to send another infantry to take the anti-air, the airport, because you sort of want to send them out to start capturing other stuff. Because you're limiting your capturing if you keep your infantry too highly concentrated here. And my opponent opens up with a tank here on turn 4, which I am actually able to afford as well, if I want to, which is kind of crazy. In Fog, I don't know if that's the best idea. Without base skipping as well, because it's base fight, you're able to do that. Like that's always an interesting thing about base fight maps, is like you tend to there's a tendency to build the first tank a little bit early, and because the reason why it's a little bit early is because you can't back it up with another tank, so it's kind of just exposing itself, and you can't really you have to be a bit defensive with it anyway, so it's not, I don't know if it's really worth it to go invest that much in a tank that early on. Which is why I went for the artillery here to reopen this so that I can do the battlecopter strategy I talked about earlier. Yeah, as you can see, so far we're like dead even in the income game. Well, I say that, I'm actually ahead in the income game now. And I've got a recon and a tank and an artillery out. So we're actually dead even on unit count, but I'm a little bit ahead in income game, and I think that's mainly because of this artillery here, this infantry here, who gives me a bit of a head start on the capture game over here. So like, interestingly enough, player 1 does have the advantage in wins by like 5%. But I'm not sure if player 1 actually has the total advantage overall. My opponent's making a bit of a mistake here by isolating her tanks. I don't know if that's... like, it's something you can do, but like, generally you want to have, like, especially because it's Fog, you can just send recons off by themselves like this. They can scout out. If they see a tank, they can fall back. You can maneuver your tanks towards it, but like, you don't really want to spread out your tanks like this, especially in Fog. I have this guy basically waiting around here for the battlecopter who's about to just come straight through here because I'm gonna blow open this spot with the artillery. And then my opponent goes for the recon here, so you can see around this a bit. If it were against anyone except for Hawk in Tier 1, this wouldn't be that bad of an idea. But as you'll see here, it's not the greatest. Plus, this city is in range of this airfield as well. Once this pipe seam is blown open, and my opponent should be checking the pipe seam to see if I'm blowing it open or not. Just because otherwise I'm going to be able to do something like this, in which I blow open the pipe seam with the artillery and it doesn't show up on the roof, but it gets survived with it. And just blow open the recon like that. What's interesting about the Hawk versus Sasha thing is that Sasha recons on cities can be killed by a tank attack without a comm tower. So that brings her down to 4. Plus a recon. Well, actually, and it's fairly consistent. There's like the minimum damage with the tank is 65. So there's like a 1 or 2%. There's like, and when I say 1 or 2%, it's based on the luck roll, so it's a lot more than 1 or 2%. But like, there's a 1 or 2% threshold in which I don't kill it. If I roll a 33, if I roll minimum luck on the tank plus like a 33 or a 34 on the recon, I don't kill. But I could always finish off with the infantry here if I want to. But because I have the battlecopter here, honestly, what I probably should have done was just do tank into recon and not reveal the battlecopter. But like, honestly, you're gonna expect the battlecopter anyway. You're gonna see the pipe seam blown out as well. Like, you're able to see that on the map, so it's not gonna matter too much, and it allows my recon to move in down here and see a little bit more. Was I able to get to the forest? No. So I scout up the forest, and it's relatively safe because I'm on bear. Of course, my opponent could move in with the tank, but because it's Sasha, she's actually not able to do the same thing with the recon as I did, and I just destroyed one of the recons as well. So I do it like this, but I'm also going for the cap on her city to draw fire to that infantry. So she has a bit of a choice between attacking the recon or freeing this city from my capture attempt here. No, I'm trying to draw a vehicle fire with that, basically. Funnily enough, she can't actually see my recon at all, so she doesn't know that it's there. Attacking like that with the artillery, though, I know she has an artillery in the area, probably in the lone forest that's right nearby, like, let's be real. So I know that basically immediately upon seeing that on the replay. Because you can tell it's an artillery shot. So she revealed the artillery there, which was relatively okay because it's relatively safe to keep artillery in the forest right now, but she's going to have to move it out in a second. Especially based off of what I do here in a second. Let's take the incomplete for a second, but at this point, she's down 1 property, even though she has a small income lead due to her bonus buff, and I'm also up a comm tower, so I'm up 20% firepower at this point. I move in with a recon here just to make sure that I know that I know where the artillery is, because that's basically obvious where it is. Me moving in with the battlecopter like that made my opponent build an anti-air here. So I'm not sure if it would have been better to hide the battlecopter or not, honestly. I think it's probably fine that I kept it shown, honestly, now that I think about it. Because it did make her build the anti-air, and like, anti-air are good and all, But on base light, your production of vehicles is relatively, well, just units in general is relatively small. So yeah, that's gonna be irritating. With the comm tower and Hawk firepower, you only need 2 attacks there. But she weakens 2 infantry there. So that's why you sort of want Hawk over Sasha. Why you would want Hawk over Sasha is for early game engagements like this. Well, certainly early games, assuming you get the comm tower, which my opponent isn't going to, actually. Takes out the recon with the battlecopter, but that's fine. So I'm able to move in like that. Is that a forest? No, it's plains. So he's wide open if my opponent wants to move in with a recon that I can't see. And my tank isn't actually covering my infantry right now. So what I should have done was move into the forest, because that way I would have been safe. I obviously didn't know that he had vehicles in the area, but like I should have waited for this in hindsight. I move on to here because it's relatively safe, especially since considering it's like my property, it's going to be pretty difficult for my opponent to take him out off of there, and he'd be wasting tank attacks on it, which would be important. That's the other thing about recons that's nice, is like you can force your opponent to waste for tank or like even battlecopter attacks on them, while you preserve your HP on your more important units. So recons are pretty good if you can avoid them. I like them a lot more than I thought earlier on. Like, you sort of fall into the trap of just going tank, 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 tank. But like, throwing a recon into the mix every now and then, if you can afford it, isn't that bad either. So my opponent goes in here, actually interrupts the capture, because like, he kind of needs to. Because then he'd be down 30% firepower, and that's like, all that Sasha gets is an extra 10% income on standard. Like, 30% firepower is just gonna destroy her. She needs at least 1 comm tower, preferably 2 to be really good. But like, she needs at least 1 of these in order to stay on par with Hawk. So that's gonna be irritating for her. She sees the artillery at this point, so there goes that tank. Move in like this, and like, it's so easy to scout out artillery on this map, because they're either going to be in like a city, which I'm assuming they're not, or just hiding in a forest, so you can just maneuver like that really easily, and you don't have to really worry about them too much. I move in with the recon and finish off the battlecopter, and move in like that with the battlecopter here. And the reason I attacked from above here is because since my opponent didn't actually break this pipe seam, I know that they're like definitely going to be routing their battlecopters through here. So, and like, if I had attacked from this side, he'd be able to attack me with the battlecopter, and I basically lose my battlecopter for nothing. For what, one attack into a tank? So yeah. And the other thing that's important here is I'm also cutting off this side from people who want to attack into this comm tower. So I'm also sort of securing the cap on the comm tower by maneuvering it this way. Got 2 recons and a battlecopter this turn, actually. Like, I like recons maybe a bit too much, especially on fog, but like, at the end of the day, you can never have too many recons in fog. You're always going to need vision. So, and he's actually able to finish off finish off my cap there, which is pretty important. It's not like the end of the world important, but it's pretty important. He moves in like that. It's sort of like, what are you gonna do here? Because I'm obviously able to see with this infantry, but if he would have been, if he had decided to try and go in from below from the com tower, I also would have been able to see him because he would have passed over my com tower, so I think this is the correct move. So it gives him a bit of intel, and like, I actually don't have anything in range to scout out the forest right now. So that's important. He's actually going for one of my properties, and if he flips this property, that would be a pretty huge deal, because it would change the income from like a 400k income lead on my part to a 1700. Yeah, 1700k income lead on his part. Well, actually, no, it would just be no, at least 1700. So that would be a pretty big deal if he got his flip. Well, sort of a big deal because I'm gonna get this, so it's not gonna be that big of an income gap in a second, but whatever. And he goes for a market crash, obviously. Like, I'm getting close, but I was tasting it. I was tasting the black wave, but no. Sasha just denies me. Sasha cockblocked me on that, so unfortunate, but it's what happens when you're playing Sasha. And this is pretty good for her as well because it supercharges her for a turn. Meaning she can move in a little bit more aggressively like this if she wants to. She is like pretty good there. The only issue is like I have way better unit placement right now, so I'm moving like that. Honestly, in hindsight, should have attacked from literally any other tile. Because like I knew she had the artillery in the forest. I knew the tank was here too, so putting my recon on the road there basically ensures that it's gonna die. But like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much. So I'm about to take my second con tower. I'm able to just shred through shit here, like that, and that. That basically prioritizing taking out as many units as I can here, so that's important. I'm even sort of cutting off his recon here, like not completely, but like sort of gets an artillery shot and takes out my tank in response, which is fair enough. Funnily enough, he actually wasn't able to see. Well, actually, he should be able to see him with his tank. So I don't know why it's dark. Takes out the battlecopter there as well. Starting to do this, and then he goes for another market crash because he needs the defense and the firepower for the push here. It's not really to neuter my meter at this point. It's to make sure that he gets the defensive boost. And because I'm up the comm power too, like he's only at 10-10 with this power, whereas I'm at 20-0. So yeah, I get the cap here, but honestly, it's looking like he's going to be able to interrupt the cap here again. So he's going to be able to hold on for a little bit as well. It's pretty important. But I have wiped out his infantry in this area completely as well, so it's not going to matter. The other thing that's important here, actually, now that I look at it, is like he has managed to get rid of a lot of my unit count, so that is pretty important. Of course, I do have the infantry here to start capping again in a second. So, but I am gonna lose like another battlecopter here. The anti-air spam by him was pretty smart, considering I was basically doing the 18k income thing on this map, just doing battlecopter tank infantry, and you can basically do that on base light with just like 18k, so that's nice. Pops market crash again. Okay, this is where Sasha starts rolling again, is like when she's able to just start spamming market crashes like this. And she's able to basically maintain unit count lead, and she isn't that far behind on income either. But she does need to start, like, making gains a little bit. I just got battlecopters and tanks. But importantly, I am making headway in this area. And I do have infantry left in the area to start capping, which is important. Sasha doesn't have that. And I finally go for a anti-air as well. Because at this point I'm going, hey, you know, maybe I should get one of those as well. And I probably should have gotten one of mine earlier. But this artillery actually is putting in a good amount of work, though. Being shot off there. He's able to take out my tank to finish off this cap even as well, so that's pretty good. And he got a battlecopter now over here, so like my push into this area isn't gonna work good. The fun thing about recons though is like they only take like half damage from battlecopters, so you don't have to worry about just putting them in range of battlecopters. They take a lot of damage from tanks and stuff, and then there you see Sasha bringing out the medium tank. So there, she's teching up here, which is going to be pretty important. Considering the battlecopter spam, I might have waited for the Neo tank if I were her. But yeah, this works as well, pretty well. So I'm not gonna say it's like a bad move or anything. It's a decent amount of damage off here. Moving it with the tank as well. But I am being super aggressive with these battlecopters, like way too aggressive, and just tossing them out. And like that's good because, or in one sense, because it's putting a lot of pressure on my opponent. But it's also pretty bad in another sense because I'm just wasting unit count for. I mean, it's pretty good reason, I guess. Yeah, sure. And she pops for crash again. Luckily, my recon didn't die, so I did see her medium tank just move up through there. So I am going to be able to respond to that. And then I've got this guy in the corner. He'll be done capping in like a couple of turns. There's not really any chance that my opponent actually interrupts this either. Which is pretty important. I take out his battlecopters in this area, start capping this guy. And yeah, like the fact that Sasha wasn't able to get this comp tower is hurting her insanely. Because it means that she's not really able to push super effectively. Like if she had had that comp tower, she would have been able to. Well, I mean, she was able to take out a battlecopter, but like she would have been able to prioritize my battlecopters with her battlecopter attacks. So moves in here to scout that, install me for another turn. But honestly, like once I get this comp tower, it's over. So this match is about to end. Well, I say that. No, yeah, so she resigns there. The reason she resigns is because, like, I've got battlecopters in the area, so I'm gonna be able to finish these guys off. I could even just finish them off with like infantry and stuff. And then I could join cap as well. She's got this guy, which would be able to interrupt again, but like I've got tanks in the area, so at this point, like she's figured out that it's relatively a stalemate, and well, I don't know. Like, because she has the battlecopter here, medium tank here, it's not like that bad for her. But I am actually going to be able to push over here with the infantry, but she doesn't really know that. But I think the main issue here is like I'm going to be able to get this gap. in a little bit from now, because I'm going to be able to move in with the battlecopters and just finish it off that way. Ensure that cap. I'm going to get this cap as well in a couple of turns. There's literally nothing she can do about that one either. She might be able to flip this, but like, she sees the recon there. I have more units in the back, which I can pull in. Yeah, it's basically hopeless for her at this point. And yeah, I will sort of actually do like Sasha on this map, but it's with the cap. It's with a lot of caveats. Honestly, in a gameplay environment with Von Bolt, she would be. I feel like she'd be 10 times better because Von Bolt would sort of scare off Hawk a little bit, and she can like meter cuck Von Bolt super effectively. The only issue is like Von Bolt's going to be able to do a lot of damage with the extra 10% firepower and defense. Like even on a flat map like this, like all these plain tiles are basically just forests for Von Bolt defensively. So she's going to have a decently hard time breaking through that. Meaning that it's going to be super important for her to like take the comm towers as early as she can. And the other thing is she would need to stay competitive in the income game. So long as she maintains a slight income lead, well, I mean, if she gets to like a half and a half situation, where she has half the map and her opponent has the other half of the map, she can do pretty well, because like at that point she can start spamming out Neotanks and Bombers, and it's pretty hard to deal with those two unit types when you don't have enough income to like afford them. Whereas Sasha's gonna have enough income to like afford that less light units basically every other turn, whereas you're gonna be stuck with just light units, maybe like a expensive unit every now and then. But like this map doesn't really have the income to support super high value stuff on it. And because she has her like her meter drain, that's also super good against people like Hawk who want to try and capitalize on that high unit value type stuff. So, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure she's assuming that I'm gonna get Black Wave on my turn as well. Like even if I wanted to, what I could do is like just suicide stuff into the medium tick in order to get meter, and that would be pretty devastating. But yeah, I guess that's basically it for today. Next week's match is going to be this great player kicking my ass in high funds on tier 4 because I picked Kindle. And Kindle is bad. Hot take, I know. But I just don't think Kindle's very good, even though once you know how to deal with her, you can manipulate her very easily. So that's the issue with her on this map. Even though 36, 59, I know, but I don't like Kindle. So that'll be a very interesting 13-day match that I hope you tune in for next Friday at 5 o'clock Central Time. If you enjoyed, I guess like, subscribe, and all that nonsense. And I will see you guys next week. Well, actually, depending on when... Yeah, no, it'll probably be next week, because I don't think there's any chance that I'll be able to finish my first Quack Cup game in like a day. So the next episode of Road to 1K is probably coming up before that first one. But yeah, I will see you guys then. See you later.